everybody, I'm Sara and welcome back to my crochet channel. I'm really excited about today's video because we have updated this pattern. Originally when it was written, it only had small, medium, and large. But what we've done is we've updated the pattern to include sizes extra small, small, medium, and large, extra large, 2X, and 3X. So anybody can have a whimsical cape shawl. I love this pattern because it whips up super easy and super quick because we stitched it with the chunky number 5 yarn. But don't panic. If you don't have a chunky number 5 yarn, you can hold 2 strands of yarn together to make the thickness. And even though we're using a chunky yarn, because it has all these open spaces, this cape shawl is perfect all year long, depending on, of course, where you live. In the summer, it's great for cool mornings and cool evenings. Same thing in the spring and fall. And it's a wonderful addition to any outfit, maybe over a tank top or sundress. And it's also a wonderful gift for Mother's Day, birthdays, or just someone you love and you want to give them a wonderful gift. Now you can find this pattern on my blog with lots of new updated pictures. And of course, you can find that pattern link down in the notes underneath this video. To make the Whimsical Cape Shawl, you're going to need anywhere from 8.5 to about 12.5 ounces of a bulky weight number 5 yarn. I'm going to be using this yarn today. This is what this one's made out of. It's called Toy Box by Premier Yarns. The name of the yarn is called Lincoln Logs. I don't know how that corresponds with these beautiful colors, but it doesn't matter. They're gorgeous colors. Anywhere from greens, yellows, oranges, whites, blues, just lots of beautiful, fun, variegated colors. Now, you don't have to use this color, of course. You can use any color, solid, stripe, ombre, whatever colors that you want that may be your favorite colors for this cape shawl. Now, if you don't have the number 5 yarn, you can use 2 strands of a light number 3 and hold them together and crochet it up that way so that you get a good fit. We're going to be stitching our cape shawl today with a 9mm crochet hook. Sometimes the end hook is a 10mm. I want you to make sure that if you're using an end hook, that you're using a 9mm crochet hook. You're going to need 2 buttons, and I love these wooden buttons. I love adding them to these sorts of projects. And this is a 3/4 inch button, but you can use up to an inch button if you like. And you want to make sure you have 2 buttons that are nice and sturdy because we're going to be buttoning them through the top of our cape, and we want them to stay put and hold our cape shawl on. You'll notice I have 2 needles. The large needle is just for weaving in our ends. The smaller needle is because the large needle would not fit through my button holes, and so I'm using this smaller needle to attach my buttons. And so that's something you'll have to check out with whatever buttons that you choose. You just want to make sure you can sew them on. And then, of course, you need your scissors. We're going to start at the band of our cape shawl. And depending on what size you're making, of course, will depend on the inches around. The extra small is going to measure about 30 inches. The small will measure about 32 inches. The medium will measure about 34. The large 36, and the extra large 38. The 2X will measure about 40 inches, and then the 3X will measure about 42 inches around. And keep in mind that this is a loose and comfortable fitting cape because we want it to be able to go over another shirt or blouse. We're going to begin with foundation double crochets for our cape band. All right, so we'll start with our slip knot, and we'll chain 4. Yarn over, go in the 4th chain, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and only go through that first loop. Yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. And what we've done is we've stitched our chain and our double crochet at the same time. Yarn over, go in that chain that we made, pull up a loop, yarn over, just go through the first loop, yarn over, go through the next 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. I'll make one more. And that's how we do our foundation double crochet. Now, if you're going to make the extra small size, you'll need 60 foundation double crochets. And remember to count your chain 3 as your first. All right, so extra small, you need 60. Small, you need 63. Medium, you need 66. For the large, you need 69. For the extra large, you need 72. For the 2X, 75. And 3X, you need 78 foundation double crochets. I'm going to be making the extra small for our demonstration. And so I'm going to be stitching 60 foundation double crochets. You stitch the number of foundation double crochets you need for your size. I have chained my 60 foundation double crochets. I'm going to chain 3 and turn. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet on row 2. So we're not going to double crochet in that first stitch. We're going to double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to chain 3. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then in the next stitch, we're going to stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the same stitch. Chain 3, skip 2 stitches, and stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the next stitch. And of course, that's called a V-stitch. And this is our repeat going across our cape. Chain 3, skip 2 double crochets, and double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, which is a V-stitch, in the next stitch. And you'll notice that it will fan out in order to form that cape shape. Chain 3, skip 2, and V-stitch in the next, working all the way across our cape. And again, this is for all sizes. The only difference is if it's smaller, you have less. If it's larger, you have more. So I have repeated this. Chain 3, skip 2, V-stitch in the next, all the way across my shawl. And so when you get to the end, you have your last V-stitch, chain 3, and you have 4 double crochets. You're going to skip those 2 double crochets and stitch 1 double crochet in the last 2 stitches. and chain 3. And you should notice that it's already starting to be the shape of our cape shawl. For row 3, we've already made our chain 3, and of course that chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to double crochet in the next double crochet. We're going to chain 3. We're going to go to this chain 1 space of our V-stitch and stitch a V-stitch, which is of course double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and repeat V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch. And chain 3. And this is our repeat around for row 3. Chain 3, V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch, and repeat all the way around our cape. Chain 3, V-stitch in the chain 1 space, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Chain 3, V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the V-stitch. And we'll repeat this all the way around. I completed row 3, stitching a V-stitch in each of the chain 1 spaces, chain 3 in between, and I'm at the end here. So I chained 3, and I'm going to stitch 1 double crochet in those last 2 double crochets. And chain 3. All right, so now we're going to turn our work, and basically we're just going to repeat what we did on row 3. We're going to double crochet in the double crochet and chain 3 and V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch. And chain 3. And repeat all the way across for row 4. Chain 3, V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch, and repeat all the way around, just like we did on row 3, we'll do on row 4. I completed row 3, stitching chain 3s and V-stitches in the chain 1 spaces, which of course our V-stitch is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Then when I finished this row, I did my chain 3 and 1 double crochet in the last 2 double crochets. And what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat row 3, which row 4 we repeated row 3. So you're going to continue to repeat row 3 for 10 more rows. Once you have repeated your rows for 10 more rows, you're going to have your foundation double crochet row and then 13 rows of your V-stitch chain 3 rows. Now, if you want your cape to be longer, you can continue to repeat row 3 for as long as you would like it. The cape itself really is just intended to sit on the shoulders, maybe about halfway down your arm. But if you want to make it longer, you can make it as long as you would like, whatever works for you. All right, so once we've completed our 10 additional rows, we're going to add just a really simple single crochet edge. Once your cape shawl is as long as you would like it, on your last row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And now I'm going to show you how to make that really simple trim on the bottom of our cape. We're going to single crochet in the first because our chain 1 did not count as a stitch. Then we'll single crochet in the double crochet. We're going to stitch 3 single crochets in this chain 3 space. So we'll go around and stitch our single crochets working around those 3 chains. We'll single crochet in the double crochet. We'll single crochet in the chain 1 space and then single crochet in the double crochet. Then single crochet in the chain 3 space, and you're stitching 3 single crochets in that chain 3 space. Then single crochet in the double crochet, single crochet in the chain 1 space, and single crochet in the double crochet. And that's the way the trim working across the bottom of our cape shawl works. 3 single crochets around the chain 3, single crochet in the double crochet, single crochet in the chain 1 space, and then single crochet in the double crochet, working all the way across your cape shawl. I've been stitching the trim on my actual cape shawl, stitching those 3 single crochets in the chain 3 space, single crochet in the double crochet, single crochet in the chain 1 space, and single crochet in the double crochet all the way across the bottom of my cape shawl. Now I'm to those last 2 double crochets, and I'm going to stitch a single crochet in each of those 2 double crochets. I'm out of yarn. I'm going to chain 1 and tie off. Grab my big needle so I can get that thick yarn through there and weave this end in to the inside of my cape. I've already attached one button and I put it right up in this corner of my shawl, and then I'm going to add a second button and I'm going to line it up with this row here, and we're going to stitch it right in these double crochet rows. So I've got my thread onto my smaller needle and I'm going to make a loop going through that stitch. And I like to do this. This gives me a little bit of tail to work with, and my yarn is going to stay attached. All right, now I'm going to take my button and I'm going to make sure that I go through some of these fibers and the stitch so that my button stays put. And I'll come back up through a stitch and I'll sew that on until I'm happy that that is going to stay put. I don't want this button coming off, especially if it's a gift. All right, that looks nice and secure, and I'm almost out of yarn. So I've got my needle through. I want to make sure this piece is to the back, so I'm going to pull that to the back, and now we're going to tie this button on securely. 1, 2, and 3 knots. Nice and tight. All right, so now the way this works, and it's up to you if you want to put your buttons on the right or left side of the cape. It's whatever is more comfortable for you. I always like mine on this side. I don't know why. And so what you'll do is this hole here between those first 2 double crochets will button over that button. And then you'll come down here, line that up, find where it lines up, and you'll push this button through the first 2 double crochets as well. And so you don't have to make a buttonhole. We've made them when we made our 2 double crochets at the ends of each of our rows. And that's how you add on your buttons. And see how easy that is to make our whimsical cape shawl? It's a perfect gift, and one really cool thing I like about this is you can button this to the front, but if you want to wear it to the side, you could always have those buttons over to the side as well. It's very versatile, very roomy and comfortable, and makes a great gift whether you're giving it to your mother, your grandmother, or maybe your daughter, or anyone for any occasion will love the Whimsical Cape Shawl.